What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to World According to Briggs and a look at my home state of Oregon. I guess it's my home state now. I've lived here a decade and some change, so yeah, I guess it's my home state. Oregon was founded in 1859, long before I got here, and it is home of the beaver. It's the only state whose flag has different designs on each side. The front shows the state seal in blue and gold, and the back pictures a poorly drawn golden beaver. Yeah, golden beaver. Who doesn't love a good golden beaver? Oregon, like all states, has its issues. In the last few years, they've really come to the forefront with our homeless numbers, the riots and protests, and of course the eastern half wanting to break off and join Idaho, and Idaho's subsequent refusal to take them. Idaho's like, hey, we got enough rednecks and trailer parks, we don't need you. Even with our problems, Oregon is still one of the top 10 most moved to states. For a long time, they were always like number 1 or 2. Now they're only in the top 10. So why would people still move here? I'm gonna tell you right now. Number 10, beautiful landscapes. You can hate Oregon and say it sucks all you want, but most people agree Oregon is one of our most beautiful states when it comes to the natural environment. It has volcanoes and glaciers, it also has dense evergreen forests, and it's also home to the largest mushroom on Earth. Yeah, it's over 3.5 square miles, and it's around 8,000 years old. It lives in our Blue Mountains here. All the mushrooms on the ground here in this place are interconnected, and it's just spread out as one organism over that distance. It's crazy. But as far as the volcanoes go, Mount Hood, that stands about 11,000 feet, is Oregon's highest point, and it's also the only volcano in Oregon's recorded history that blew up. It was like 1865. Oregon's only national park is Crater Lake. It is known as the deepest lake in the US, and it's located in the central southern part of the state. I just saw it not too long ago. It's great. It's one of those places you can just sit and look at for the longest time. And then you have the Columbia River, which helped bring Lewis and Clark here. The landscape of Oregon is sort of what brought me here. Number 9, outdoor activities. Colorado is probably the only state that has more outdoor activities than Oregon. For a state that rains as much as it does, you'd probably be a little surprised to see how many people are outdoors doing things here. I was in the beginning. I couldn't believe everyone, let's go camping. I'm all supposed to rain this weekend. They're all, and? I'm like, okay, I guess that doesn't bother you. If you're an outdoor enthusiast, it's easy to fall in love with Oregon. Hiking, whitewater rafting, dog sledding, golf, stand-up paddle boarding, salmon and steelhead fishing, sturgeon. You can find it all in the water here in Oregon. And then rock climbing. You have Smith Rock. It's considered the birthplace of the sport. It's located about 25 minutes north of Bend. But rock climbing everywhere. Smith Rock is just the big one that a lot of people gravitate to. I mean, even in downtown Oregon, everyone walks or rides a bike. This is a bike city, and for a city that rains as much as it does, like I said, it's amazing people are out all the time. Number 8, no sales tax. Now, this was a big one for me. I really enjoyed it when I first moved here because I was getting gouged in California with sales tax. There aren't many states that have no sales tax. There's a handful of states that have no state income tax, but this state has no sales tax. You don't have to worry about trying to figure out how much something is. If you're like broke and you're trying to buy something, you gotta go tax and another $5, you know. You don't have to do any of that, and that's what I noticed when I got here. Now it's a little bit easier because we all just use debit cards. You don't have to make sure you have, you know, like change or something like that. The price you see on the tag is the price you pay. It's kind of nice. It seems kind of not that big of a deal, but I liked it. Number 7. It's gun friendly. You'd think because of its liberal reputation, Oregon would be a very unfriendly state towards the Second Amendment. They really aren't. I've seen different rankings, but the Beaver State always lands around 19th to 21st place for states that are friendly to the Second Amendment. Is it the Wild West like Arizona, Texas, and Idaho? No. But for a liberal state, that catches people off guard, that they're kind of okay with it. That's one thing about Oregon. People are very, outside of Portland, I should say, they like to be left alone and they like to do what they want. You know, sort of that libertarian type attitude. Portland is not like Oregon. It's totally different. Number 6, the Oregon coast. Oregon has arguably one of the best road trips, and it's Highway 101 from Astoria across the Columbia from Washington to Brookings, Oregon, near the California border. The 101 just goes down the coast, barely ever going inland more than, I'd say, a half a mile. Most of the time it is you and a cliff and maybe a little town between you. It is 338 miles of picturesque coastal views, public beaches, amazing coastal towns, and fresh seafood. In a lot of cases, was swimming in the ocean earlier that morning. What's not to love? Oregon possibly has the most diverse coastline in the United States. Look at these videos. It's amazing. I go there all the time. Number 5, things grow here. Oregon has extensive farmland for a reason. It's one of the easiest places to grow anything this side of a cactus, a local blueberry farmer told me. I'm not even kidding. We went to pick blueberries. I was asking why there's so many farms around this area. He said it's easy to farm here. He said the soil is great. We get rain most of the year. Summers are outstanding for growing everything, he said. Oregon has great wine, berries, hazelnuts, hops, cherries, onions, pears, potatoes, and the devilweed, which is so popular with the kids these days. Those who love farmers markets and roadside farm stands will love it here. I know 3 places within a square mile of me right now. I could wake up in the morning and go buy like cherries and blueberries from a guy on the side of the road that has a trailer or something like that. They're all over the place. Oregon is ranked the 3rd best state for gardening in the entire country. Number 4. Got good jobs. Oregon has jobs. They're ranked normally the middle of the road when it comes to employment numbers and stuff like that. And that's because the eastern side of the state is mostly rural and they have job numbers that bring the rest of the state down. The west side of the state with Portland, Salem, and Eugene, it's a different story. Just outside of Portland, you have Nike that calls Beaverton, Oregon home and employs thousands of people in this small little area. You could be one of them. I was one for a while, actually. I liked it, even though I had a boss that liked to talk to people like they were children. Yeah, and they weren't children. It'd be one thing if she was at a daycare center, but she wasn't. She was bad at the whole communication thing. Anyway, enough about me and her not being talked to like a child. There's companies for the tech types here, like IBM. Intel has several big campuses here. Tektronix has a big campus. Comcast is big here. That's just to name a few of them. In the Portland metro area, you have a ton of call centers that don't pay terrible. I mean, call centers aren't the best job in the world and the pay's not the greatest, but these aren't bad. Portland is also big in healthcare and strip club jobs. Yes, we have a ton of strip clubs here, and they're always looking for employees. Not even kidding. Number 3, friendly people. Now, there's these old stories about how if you're moving up from California, everyone in Oregon hates you. I've never experienced any of that in my life. I know a few other people that have moved up here from California and one from Arizona. They never saw any of it at all. But I promise you, someone in the comment section will tell you they got a lot of it. It always happens anytime I bring this up. The entire state is kind of mixed. You know, you got the east side, what we talked about earlier, and then you got the west side. West side is very forward-thinking and open-minded attitudes towards social issues and same-sex marriage and LGBTQ rights. It's just how the Portland and the west side of the state are. They're very good like that. They're just friendly people. So I've used this example before, and this kind of shows you what you're dealing with up here. I grew up in Los Angeles where people are just, you know, you could be bleeding on the side of the road and 150 cars will pass you. You'll bleed out before someone stops. And if they do stop, they're just going to check your pockets for money. But about 2 or 3 different times, I've gone to get gas for my lawnmower. I have an electric one now, so I haven't been in a long time. But when I had a gas lawnmower, I'd go get gas for it. Every single time I did that, they'd see me filling up that gas can. Someone would think I was out of gas and offer me a ride back to my car. And I'd tell them it was my lawnmower. It was just really weird. Doesn't happen in LA. The other thing about, especially the Portland area and Bend and Eugene and Salem, they're very open-minded about how people live. They don't judge you really. You could be yourself and do whatever you want here in Oregon and they don't care. It's not like other places. Number 2, it's very pet friendly. Now, we've talked about this before. One of the most searched things, or one of the first search things people search for when they're looking for a new place to live is it pet friendly? That's right up there with crime and traffic and rental prices. Cost of living's in there too, but I think number 3 is always like, is it pet friendly? Oregon is very pet friendly. It's actually considered the most pet friendly state in the entire union. We even have all organic, free range, grass fed dog bones. It's a thing here. Portland alone has 350 pet friendly restaurants. You could bring your pet into a restaurant. Now, I know that's great for pet owners, but when I see that, I usually don't eat at the restaurant. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think that's right. But I mean, I'm not judging anyone else. You do what you do. Just my preference isn't doing that. I mean, it's kind of weird. Oregon has strict anti-abuse laws for pets and plenty of no-kill shelters, so that's kind of nice. There's even a bar you can go have a drink, hang out, and adopt a dog. Yeah, you can go there and they have dog adoptions at this bar. That's the weirdest thing. I mean, Portland has a lot of weird stuff. That one I think is kind of weird. All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Really helps out the channel. Also, hit that little bell notification so they send you a little alert when we upload a video. All right, on to number 1. And number 1. the breweries. Oregon has too much beer. Just kidding. That's like too much Christmas if you think about it. But no, Portland alone has more breweries than any other city in the world. Take that, Germany. Oregon is home to more than 236 breweries. That's of 2019. We might have lost some in the pandemic, but in 2019, July of 2019, we had 236. Portland alone has over 70 breweries. Bend has 22. Bend actually has the highest number of breweries per capita in the United States. They have one brewery for every 3,600 humans in Bend. That's a lot. The Oregon Brewer Festival is the largest gathering of independent craft brewers in the U.S. This is what's really cool about Portland and Oregon really altogether. People actually take tours to come here to drink the beer. Like, beer tourism goes on here on a regular basis. During normal times. Pandemic times, not so much. I've actually been to the Dark Beer Festival like 3 years now. It's great. I love dark beer. Not a lot of people show up for that one. Dark beer is not as popular as I think it should be. When we were at the Dark Beer Festival, there was this master brewer guy, and he was talking about it, and he was talking about how, you know, beer talks to him. Yeah, beer talks to me too. It says things like, hey, trust me, you can dance. Go ahead, give it a shot. It always lies to me. I can't dance. Horrible at dancing. I always fear my last words would be, hold my beer and watch this. But yeah, I think that's how I'm going to die, doing something stupid like that. Anyway, yeah, Oregon has more beer than we know what to do with. And that's another reason people move here, believe it or not. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, and be nice to each other.